Space. The penultimate frontier. What's that? You thought it was the final frontier? Oh, humans. So blissfully unaware of the vast mysteries of this universe, let alone other ones. That's right. There are other universes. And frankly, it's not anything like what was depicted in the movie Spider-Man: Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah, that's honestly, that movie was very inaccurate about depicting multiverse theory. And if people would just read my blog, okay, I'm sorry, it's just frustrating. I mean, for your information, Mr. Neil deGrasse Tyson himself tweeted about this. Probably. But I digress. I'm sorry. What if I told you that there are beings in this universe? Well, not just this universe, to whom these mysteries of the multiverse are not mysteries at all. One such being is the intellectual property of BBC UK television. So we will not mention him. But another completely different and legally distinct being is simply known as the Captain. And I may sound a lot like him. In fact, some people even say I look a bit like him. I don't see it. No, I'm merely a devoted, unpaid intern servant of the Captain. Alan, weird last name-ian. And this is my live stream, and we're about to go live. If you can hear me, please give me a sign. Someone from Paris is watching, and about a dozen other people. That's nothing to sneeze at. Well, anyway, I'm Alan, this is my stream, and I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm no good on camera. I can't riff. I can't talk off the cuff, but there's nothing I can do. The Captain makes me do these things. If I don't, he's gonna oh no, he's coming right now. What is going on here? What are you doing? Are you complaining about doing the stream? No, Captain, I wasn't. I was about to do it and I was gonna enjoy it too. You better. Now I have to go on a complicated mission, and I'm leaving you in charge. And you better do a good stream, and you better enjoy it too. If you don't, I will never fire you, and you'll have to work for free for me all the time, forever. No, please don't. I will be good, Captain. I'll be good. I'll do the best stream ever. I'll try my best. Good. Now I'm off, and your time is up. He's gone. It's just us now. And looks like the 0 hour and 0 minutes are upon us. There is no choice but to start the stream. It will happen for me right now, and it will happen for you approximately 30 seconds later. So here we go. I'm not as nervous as last time, but I'm still plenty nervous. But whatever. Let's just do this. Here we go. Hi everybody! Am I seen? Am I heard? I think everything's in order. I think we're streaming. I'm going to check if we're streaming live. It's me, Alan, and I'm glad to be with you now here. And I'm not nervous. Don't pay attention to what I was talking about before. I'm happy to be with you, and look at that! No echo, no doubling audio like we had last time with the crazy music on top of itself. I fixed it. The problem was, basically, I was trying too hard. I wanted too much. I flew too close to the sun. And I was trying to like make sure you can see me, make sure you hear my microphone, see the different graphics, the different like sounds and whatever. Including my music keyboard, because you can't see this, but below frame right now there's like all kinds of input devices. There's the normal computer keyboard, there's a tablet for drawing and stuff, and there's like a sort of a mixer thing for controlling the live stream like a TV show. There's an audio mixer, but there's also a music keyboard, which is just there. Like I do music with it, and sometimes I just use it as a sort of lazy, not lazy, but like I have to wait for things. For example, you know, a shot will, just to preview a shot in After Effects sometimes takes a long time, or there'll be, you know, something I have to render or copy a bunch of footage from my camera. So I just sit here and I tinker on the keyboard like this, and I play around and I try to come up with musical ideas. But mostly I just randomly press keys. But that is the reason that doubling thing was happening before. Not that you asked. But that won't happen this time. This time we've learned and we're improving. And we're not going to be awkward while trying to work. We're going to be comfortable. I'm happy to see you guys gathering on the stream. So I guess I'll start with some housekeeping things. I'm new to live streaming still, so I feel like everybody else doesn't know anything, just like me. So I just want to let everybody know that's watching. Hopefully if you're watching, you're a patron. And hopefully you're watching on the playback page. If you're watching on the Patreon post, I would advise you to click through on the video title and be on the YouTube playback page where there's a chat, where you can talk at me and I can see it and I can talk back at you through the video. And I guess I plan to do some Q&As to fill the time between while I try to do a little bit of Blender work today. So last time we figured out that I'm not good at scrolling through the entire chat and spotting the questions among all the general chat. So someone had a great suggestion to, if you want to ask me a question, and it's something that you definitely want me to see and you want me to discuss, and it could be about anything. It could be about my videos, it could be about what's coming up, it could be about behind the scenes things, it could be about general life questions, whatever you want to know, if I'm able to answer it. Go ahead and ask it in the chat, but preface or like before the beginning of the question, type a question emoji, which you can do in this chat by pressing colon and writing the word question mark and then colon again. I think if you start doing that, it will auto-complete like this blue question, big fat blue question mark. So if you could do me a favor, and if you really want to ask me a question, that's the only way I'm likely to see it. I'm going to go, whenever it's question time, I'll go through and I'll scroll through the chat and I will look for those blue question marks. I'm going to type it myself, see if it works. Yeah, there it goes. I've typed it and you're going to see it in a few seconds. So maybe just copy and paste that. Put that in front of your question and I'll be happy to try to attempt to begin to maybe possibly answer it. So that's it. That's all the housekeeping. You might be asking yourself now, why am I watching this? What is happening? Why am I watching this instead of a nice Captain Disillusion video that I'm supposed to be seeing right now? By this point in the month? Well, I'm here to tell you all about it. I worked for the whole month on a cool, what amounts to a Captain Disillusion video. It's sort of I guess it's a collab. It is a collab. I did this cool thing, but the problem is I can't show it to you yet, and it's not going to be shown yet because this is a project that's coming out in a little bit. And I knew that when I agreed to do it, but I just thought that maybe I will be able to make it and then make something else as well. I'm always really optimistic about what I can do in a given amount of time. But it was kind of challenging, this thing. Let's just call it a secret project. I want to tell you a little bit of like funny, like, I don't know, behind the scenes trivia of how it went, but I cannot tell you because I signed a paper that said, I cannot tell you these things. However, that doesn't mean we can't play a game of like taboo, or what is that game where you can't say the certain keywords. I'm going to try to tell you the story of what I was working on this month, which you will eventually see. You will see it in a couple of months from now, without telling you any details that I agreed to not say on a legally binding piece of paper. Basically, like I said, it was a collab. Let me see. I'm going to probably need to, like, because I'm so limited in the things I can describe verbally, I'm going to try to do this as like with a little bit of visual aids. Let's see. Okay, cool. I have a little canvas here, and maybe I can draw what I mean. Yeah, that works. People can see that, right? Okay, so so you guys know me, right? There's me. It's me. I'm gonna draw me right here. It's C and D. That's Captain Disillusion. Is that the right colors? Maybe it's yellow and red. I don't know. And so little old me was reached out to by a really cool creator, a really cool person, and they're working on a cool project. Let's just draw it like this is somebody. And they reached out to me. They said, do you want to be part of this cool thing? And I was like, yeah, totally. I want to be part of the cool thing. This is like, and I don't want you to get overexcited. It's not a like a TV show. It's not a movie. But it's like a little more high profile than what I do. And when it gets into that kind of thing, obviously it's like there's more at stake. There's more hierarchy of things, right? So there's like some other entity, right, above. Like if it's a movie, this isn't a movie, but let's say if it was a movie, this would be like a studio, and this would be like a producer. And so basically, like, there is like someone like making sure that it makes it possible for it to happen, and then someone else making it, and they reach out to me and they say, be part of this thing. And it was basically an opportunity to be in part of a cool project and essentially make a Captain Disillusion episode. So I'm like, yeah, that sounds great, because that's like an episode, and that's what I do, and that's what my patrons pay me for. So this is something that you'll be able to see when it comes out. It's not something anybody has to pay for, and it's not something, frankly, I don't know if I'm allowed to say. I did this, let's say, for the exposure. Yeah, I did this thing. Now, you know that making a Captain D episode takes a lot of steps. It's like making a short film. So I wanted to make sure I do the right thing. I asked all the questions, like what am I gonna talk about, and also how long is my thing? You know, what can I or can I not do? How does it connect into the rest of this project? And it's basically like, let's say a scene in the overall thing. So I asked a lot of questions. I made sure I understand. And before I did anything, I wrote a script. I wrote how I usually do. I wrote a screenplay, a detailed account of what will happen. This is what will occur. You will see me, and then I will say these words, and then it will go to some kind of graphics and everything. And every page is about a minute. And so it's very clear what will happen. So I did that as my first step, and then I sent it, I sent it up to the creator of this project, and they said, awesome. They were like, this is great. They had some notes, and we changed a couple of things, and I was like, yeah, that's better. I think that works. And so I got to work. So it went back to me, and I went ahead and I filmed the stuff. And as quickly as I could, and it was, this is a little bit more, I wanted to make sure it looks good enough for like what it is. So even though I do really high quality stuff, I try to even amp it up even more for this. So I went ahead and I did my best with the cinematography and everything. We did what we usually do, but we did it even better. And then I quickly edited a rough cut of it without any effects, just like this is what's going to be, these are the takes, this is how it's going to feel, this is the edit. And I sent it back up the chain, and they looked at it and they said, awesome, this is awesome, it's great. Maybe we should do this little tweak. And I'm like, yeah, I think maybe I can do that. But okay. So I went ahead and I considered the edit approved, and I went and I started doing the effects. Now, when you do effects, you kind of commit to what the editing is, because if you're starting to do some kind of crazy animation or something, you don't want to then find out that there's going to be like an extra second of space before a certain shot or something. Like, things are locked. So I'm working on this, but then the producing entity calls me and says, well, we showed the thing to the higher ups, and they had some notes. And so here are their notes. And the notes, without being specific, were something like, there were just two notes, okay? And they were this. Hold on. How do I do this? There's one note. They said, like, there's a part that is kind of a throwaway line, but maybe we could make it longer. Maybe we could, like, expand it. Expand, yeah. A part. That was note number 1. Note number 2 was, maybe could we just make the whole, just shorten the whole thing. Wow, that's a terrible E. Everything. So, add stuff and subtract stuff to make it shorter. That was the brief. So I was like, okay, and this is obviously the sort of quote unquote studio talking. Now the creator is in a difficult position, the producer of this, because they're like, we get notes too. So, some notes make sense, some don't, but we try to do our best. And you know what? If you really believe in how you have it, you don't have to change things. So we kind of compromised and said, I think to myself, I decided I'm not going to do the extra part. They want to expand a part that I don't think is that important, but it's always good to shorten and tighten things up and make them run faster and stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go through my edit and I'm going to go ahead and tighten it up. I'm not known for very slow videos, so I'm good at like shortening things. I took a little line and a little word here and there. I shortened the cuts. And I worked really hard. So I went a step back and I re-edited everything. Unfortunately, I did already start a lot of the effects, so this meant I had to first re-edit the thing, and then I had to go back and like just manually watch what I did in my edit and like reconfigure my After Effects project manually shot by shot to make sure nothing broke apart and everything still worked in this new configuration. I changed a little bit of voiceover here and there, and so finally, things were kind of like caught up where I was supposed to be. And at that point, the producing entity followed up with me and said, actually, the higher-ups had another note that hopefully will be helpful, which is, don't worry about shortening the whole thing. There's a part about halfway through the video, which is like, you say a phrase and it kind of sounds like the end of a thought. Why don't we just cut it there and just forget the second half of your whole thing? And it's a little bit like if you made a short film, for example, like with a bank heist or something, and they said like, and in your story, the first part of the movie is like a bank heist, and the main characters successfully rob a bank, and then they get out and they jump into the getaway car, and they're like high five each other. Yes, we did it. Now we just gotta get away. Step on it, and then all the cop cars show up and they surround them, and they're like, what are we gonna do now? I got it. And then there's a chase scene, and there's a bunch of more things happen, and then the story ends. But then the studio told you, like, you know the part where they get out of the bank and they sit in the car and they go, yes, we did it. That sounds like the end of a thing. Why don't we just roll credits right there? So it felt a little bit like that, but I don't want to sound like a big complainer. I went ahead and I did it. Like, I think in the end what's important is the needs of the overall project, and I think I don't see the rest of the project. I don't know how it is. I have an idea. I'm only responsible for my little part. So I went, the notes came down, the notes were passed along, and I did the thing. And you just gotta roll with the notes. The good thing is, I mean, what this made me think of is that if I was making like a proper television show and it wasn't for someone else, but it was my own, this would be my life. This would be studio notes all the time, everywhere, and you gotta defend some decisions or just roll with others. And sometimes you feel like it's your little baby, your project, but then you think about it, and what the higher ups told you actually makes sense, or maybe you don't see that it's the best thing for the overall, work of art that you're making. So, but the good news is that unlike in a real TV show, in this case, I can show you the thing that I was working on. Basically, it's like my segment is a few minutes long, but it's going to be half that time. But you'll see it in its short form in this project, but you'll see it on my channel in its longer form. And I guess you can decide if which one is better or whether all of it needs work. I don't know. But anyway, I hope this really abstract story, was interesting to hear. I don't want to sound, again, like I was really excited. I'm really excited to be part of this thing. And it's a really cool creator. And I'll look forward to seeing the fruits of my labor on the screen. So there's that. But I don't want to use this as an excuse that I was like late, but it's just like I didn't anticipate the kind of effort and the kind of back and forth that it would require. But I have another video, like basically when I was done with all of this, and I'm kind of still not done. There's certain things I have to deliver, but I do have another video lined up, which I began to work on. But it's like it was only a few days ago that I finished with this other stuff. So I've begun working on it, and but yeah, there is still stuff to do on the long version of this other project that I will post on my channel. So actually today, after all of this talking, I'm just to tell you, I'm gonna work today on creating a little asset in Blender for this expanded director's cut, the Snyder cut of my segment in this secret project. Yeah, hopefully I'll get a little bit of work done. But just before I get into that, let me take a look at your guys' chat. Because I don't know if I made it very clear at the beginning. I'm inviting you to ask me questions and whatever with that little question mark emoji. And you don't have to do it yet, but you can if where are we? Okay, here we are. If you want to get it in there and you don't want to forget, I'm going to go, when I do answer questions, I'm going to go through the chat and I'm going to scroll and I'm going to look for those question marks. So hopefully I won't miss it. But this time, as I work, I'm going to have a little countdown timer so that you can tell when the next Q&A session actually gets going. And that way you can wait to post your question until then, until a few minutes before that time. Also, I guess I should mention, like, there's certain things, because I've done Q&As before, and we do this other sort of audio streaming project once in a while through Discord and on Twitch with a couple of young people that help me run that stuff. And so I've answered so many questions about so many things, and there's a big archive about this. So in this chat, someone is helping me. Her name is Samantha. You can see her name in blue, and she has a little wrench next to her name. She's an admin. If you misbehave, which I don't know why you would in this chat. She can like turn off your things, your inappropriate comments, but also she can be helpful to you, and she might direct you to an archive where I've answered certain stuff, like some kind of basic questions or whatever. Not that you don't feel like you should come up with crazy questions for me, but don't feel offended, I guess, if you are given by Samantha or someone else some helpful information that I've actually addressed this question before or whatnot. But also maybe whatever. I'm happy to talk about myself and repeat things. Maybe I'll come up with a better version of an answer of something I answered before. So I'm just trying to decide whether to just get to work. I'm always looking for an excuse to just get into the mood for working. But maybe I'll just go ahead and start working on my Blender thing, and then we'll actually get to a Q&A a little bit later. So this is what that's going to look like. Hold on, give me a second. We're going to go into a picture-in-picture like this, and I'll just go ahead and work, and I'll start this timer. But I just realized something. This whole thing is happening on the verge of a hurricane. This was the whole premise of this thing. So wait a minute. Before we get to work, we have some business to take care of. I've actually prepared for this. So I happen to be in an area where Hurricane, what is its name? Hurricane Donovan? Hurricane Dorian is possibly still supposed to land. But now it's less and less likely. But just in case, I wanted to make sure to be prepared in case anyone lives in the same area or anywhere along the eastern coast of the United States. So I've actually set up like a good news organization. I've set up a weather cam. So we're gonna go live now to a weather hurricane check. This is not a gag. This is an actual live feed to the outside world immediately where I am. And so you can see right now, this is what the skies look like in a very, very southern tip of Florida in the United States. Things look pretty great. And the latest projections have shown that, are showing that I think the hurricane's going to kind of veer upward and maybe graze the southeast, but possibly make landfall in Georgia or something like that. Some higher up states. But in my experience, when a hurricane does that, it usually lowers in power by a lot. Let me just pan around and see if we can see anything. No, it looks beautiful. It looks too beautiful for an impending hurricane. So yeah, just don't worry about me if you're concerned. Things look okay for the time being, but we're gonna keep on top of this in case the weather starts turning bad. We're definitely gonna keep an eye on it, and if we need to evacuate or we need to take any kind of precautions, we will. I do expect that it's gonna get worse and we're gonna get some rain or something, but it looks like it's not gonna be too bad, and I hope it's not gonna be too bad for wherever the hurricane hits directly. It's probably going to fall and become a storm again. Probably going to be downgraded to a tropical storm. Anywho, I don't think I can stall myself any longer. The thing I'm going to work on is just a Blender thing, Blender modeling little project. To one of the elements, one of the shots in this in the secret project is a moment where I have to show I have to depict an old school optical printer machine, and I don't really know what that particular device of that particular visual effects studio looked like. I couldn't find any references of it, but I expect it was something like a traditional animation stand. I don't know if you've ever seen, back before computers were involved in animation, things would be just photographed with a camera looking down onto a background drawn on paper and cells of characters stacked on top of each other, and sometimes backlit and whatever. So it's like a computer-controlled sort of camera setup. And so I know what they look like. I'm going to look at some references, but basically, let's just get going. I'm going to start my timer, if I can find it. I think I found it. We have 20 minutes and counting. I'm gonna start my timer here. And I'm gonna start my old school manual timer for the same amount of time. So I know that it's over and I don't lose myself in my work. But that way, maybe I don't have to entertain you guys so moment to moment. And I'll just kind of chill here and I'll try to create out of nothing, out of pure nothingness. I'll try to create this device. And I'll see how far I can get in 20 minutes. I probably won't get very far. But after that, we'll do a Q&A. How about that? So think of clever things to ask me. Meanwhile, probably to put on my headphones to get in the zone with work. And you know, it all starts with a cube in Blender. There's a real art to not getting too detailed with your models as you begin. You want to get somewhere before you go too crazy. It's like sketching a model before you get it to look like a real thing. Okay, fine. I think I'm gonna have to pull up some reference. I thought I knew what I was doing, but it's hard to work without some visual references. So I have a second monitor here. I'm just gonna Google animation stand images. Boy, they had some really crazy complicated rigs back in the old days. What's a good one? Okay. That looks crazy enough. Just might work. Yeah, what's happening? No, that's not how that works. Individual origins. No. Why isn't it working? Guys. Fine. Okay. I'm gonna create a proper 4. Oh gosh, where did I move it to? A 4x3 plane. So it's the size of a traditional film negative. There'll be some kind of projector thing down here. Like there'll be a camera looking down this way and a projector device down there. So maybe... why am I doing it like this? What's happening? Oh. How are you guys doing over there? Is anyone still alive? Is anyone still logged in? I feel like... I'm trying to imagine myself watching myself if I wasn't me. If you are doing that, I really appreciate it. Like, I'm not even teaching anybody anything. I'm just doing my work. I feel so selfish. Oops. No. Actually... All that keeps going through my mind is imagining any of you proper Blender artists watching me do my thing and laughing. You know, you could have done that in like 2 steps instead of 15. And here's how. I did a tutorial on it. And I know I'm not great at any one thing, but I'm okay at several things, including making something in Blender. Wait, what is the key? What is the key to isolate a thing? I thought I knew how to do this. Ah, there it goes. Yeah, whatever. This picture I'm looking at looks cooler than that. I might just copy what's going on in it. What is happening? Median point. How does one do this? Okay, you know what? I'll figure it out later. Is modeling in Blender less or more boring to watch than trying to do some motion graphics in After Effects? You tell me as the audience, if you watched last time and this time, I guess. Oh, come on, man. Oh, where has the time gone? That's all? That's all I had time to create in this amount of time in 20 minutes? Ridiculous, but what are you gonna do? It's time for a Q&A. But I should probably save my work. Just give me a moment. Save. Okay. Let's take a look what burning questions await me. I'm glad people are here and people are chatting. And I'm glad it's not too much. I could probably get through it and get in another work session. So, what do we have here? Hallie42 asks, do you think you'll get Crystal Shannon back on the show as Ellie at any point? She was fantastic. Yeah, I agree. Is she talking about, or she or he, about the Beekman episode? The actress who played Ellie is named Crystal, and she is awesome. Yeah, I agree. She lives in LA like all cool actor people, and I'm here on the East Coast. But it's a cool character, right? And it's not a Beekman character. It's just a Beekman-esque assistant character. So we should totally I thought about that, bring her back for some, just in her own capacity. For future things, if I manage to turn Captain D into a more adventure-y kind of show with more character stuff, that's definitely on my list. She's great. I would love to find a way to work with her again. And I think she'd be down. I think she really liked that time we did that episode. She'd totally be into it. All right, Trevor asks, who are you in your Discord server? Who am I? I'm me. I guess I understand you. Because I am so rarely there. But when I am there, it's just Captain Disillusion. The name is written as Captain Disillusion. There's a little cartoon avatar. And I gotta check in there. I'm gonna check in there in the next couple of days. Surprise everybody. Because generally, I pretty much sign in only when I do those audio Q&A streams that we do. Usually right after a video comes out. But yeah, that's me. It's not hard to find me when I am online. Unfortunately, I'm not online on my Discord server too often. Okay. John White asks, wait, I want to make sure I didn't skip any. John White asks, what do you think about the last big update of Blender, which supposedly makes it closer to the other apps and more user-friendly? Well, you saw me working on it. It's better. Like, I'm one of those people, and I think everybody with software is like, why did they change it? Why did they change the Twitter interface? And I'm also one of the people that usually whines about it. And Blender, it's difficult because it takes so long to learn 3D software. It took me years to really migrate my brain from Lightwave 3D, which I used to use, to Blender previous version 2.79. And then I felt like just when I kind of became like a pro at it, they throw out the whole concept and kind of like do a whole new interface. And I know some of it is motivated to be like less unusual and more industry standard, but I think they're not like catering. I think the change in Blender 2.8 is not just to fit in. It's like, yeah, they're trying to make some things that have strange origins, in the programming, to be a little more normal and commonplace, but they're not compromising any features or anything. So it's really like, I like it. And now, until recently, I've had to go to the old version once in a while because there's certain things I couldn't do in the new one, just my own weird workflow. And I was starting to forget how the old Blender works already. So I'm into this now, this version. I mean, it just works so well. I've never seen it crash personally. Like, I guess I don't do complicated enough things. And it's just like, fills me with glee. I want to make things and animate them. I'm cool with the new version of Blender. What do we got here? Yeah, I'm like, so many questions, but there's like 4 questions. Trevor also asks, which Mac do you have? I have a Mac Pro, but not the one they just announced. It's like the 5-year-old version, the trash can looking one. I think they still sell that one on apple.com. It's really good computer. Like, that was my first, what happened, I used to work on PC and I always owned a PC, but then I got this job that was like a really intense sort of senior editor job where I was responsible for editing this whole show, and everything else they did was on Macs, so it wasn't like an option. I had to work on a Mac, and I was like, Macs, whatever. And they like bought a computer just for me to use, and I set it all up, and I just kind of realized, hey, like, I like it. It seems to work, and so many production things are geared toward Macs. I don't know. It really is the same now, probably. But yeah, I decided when I upgraded my computer, like for good, like just needed a whole new hardware. That was right around the time that the Mac Pro came out. So I just took the plunge. It was really expensive when it first came out. Just like this new one's gonna be the weird like square thing that they announced. But I'm probably gonna upgrade to that too. This one is still a really great computer. I don't know. I can look at the specs for you. I don't really remember what they are, but let's see. Processor, 3 gigahertz, 8-core Intel Xeon E5. Probably not that big a thing now. It's, things get upgraded so fast. You could probably buy this for like $100 now at Best Buy or something. I don't know this kind of horsepower in a computer. I have 32 gigabyte to DDR3 RAM, and the weird thing about this Mac Pro is it came with these two AMD graphics cards that you cannot replace, you cannot change, you can't expand. There's no room to put anything extra in the computer. But for my modest needs, it was fine as is out of the box, so I was happy with it. So yeah, but it's like it's kind of difficult to work in 4K when I have to now sometimes. So it's like right on the edge of being comfortable with some higher resolutions and higher data rates. So I might go ahead and get the new Mac Pro when that comes out, if that comes out, whatever is going to happen. Bill Goldberg asks, what happened to that CD intro After Effects tutorial you advertised in your Patreon video? CD intro After Effects tutorial. I don't know what you mean. Was there such a thing? If I said I'm going to do a tutorial, I mean, sometimes I have plans to do a tutorial on something that I don't get to, but what did I say that I would do like a tutorial on like the wall, flying through the wall? Probably should do that. I think if I said that, I'm like, if I know me, what I probably was talking about is that I needed to upgrade that wall animation, because that was done in Lightwave like for the first episode of the first video. So maybe I need to recreate it in Blender or something. Obviously that's the only program I know, so it'll probably be Blender. And if I do that, that could definitely be a tutorial, if that is what you're referring to, unless I was talking about doing introduction, like a crash course and getting to learn After Effects. I don't remember having an ambition to do something like that, but there are really good ones out there, and I would recommend them. Like, I don't know how good of a straight up instructor I am for like the fundamentals of a program in depth, but I'll consider it. I'm sorry if I like had an idea to do something and I said I did it. I planned to do it, but it just kind of slipped my mind. Tell me where I was talking about that. I'll look back and I'll make sure I'm not like being absent-minded, Bill. Sinez, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say it, asks, beside that awesome presentation you did there, how was your journey at the Blender convention last year? Did you enjoy it, and did you learn useful tricks? I really enjoyed the Blender conference. It's about to happen in October again, and I like, my plans are to go, but I haven't got my ticket yet. But I'm all in to go. I just can't say I'm definitely going to be there, because if I'm told I suddenly have to go to the moon next week, I will have to go, and I won't go to the Blender conference. But my plan is to go, so like any day now I'll probably book my tickets and stuff. And it was really fun. I wouldn't be exaggerating to say that it might be the most fun I had at a convention, or like the most comfortable I've felt, or something, like the most chill I felt at a convention. And that just might be because it's my kind of people, like I'm not like the greatest. My talk was called The Greatest Blenderer because I am definitely not the greatest blenderer. I was being ironic, but being just like a little bit interested in Blender, the Blender conference makes you feel so welcome. Like, you're not feeling like you're just like this nobody among these big artists and professionals. It's a really cool atmosphere. Everybody's like a dork, and everybody likes to talk about Blender and tell you all these amazing things they worked on and do these presentations. I tried to entertain people, but the other talks there are like, people are generally entertaining, but you're like, wow, I want to look that up right now, what this person is doing, this add-on they invented, this project they worked on, this short film. I want to look it up right now. Everything I saw, I was like making notes and looking it up. There are so many crazy, like, inventive motion graphics things and animation and art and digital sculpting stuff that's happening. People were showing like these things they invented with VR, like working in VR, modeling while you're in the VR environment. Insane stuff. I really enjoyed it. And this year, it's going to be. It was in a certain venue for many years that was kind of like very cool, but it was kind of small. And now the conference has gotten so big that it's like in a new cool place that they showed me what it looks like, and I looked at pictures. It's like really cool, like a big sort of convention center, not huge, but like bigger than before. And it's a couple of rooms and it's a big auditorium. Very, very cool. I'd recommend you check it out. And thank you for saying my presentation was nice. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Oh boy, what does Samantha have to ask me? Do I go watch Ready or Not tonight or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? I also mentioned this earlier, but I can't pull up the Discord Q&A. Okay, well, I have a couple of friends that I'm always on a thread with that are real movie buffs. We went to film school together, and I always feel like I'm like a movie maker, movie person fraud. Like I like movies, but I don't love movies like they do. And they talk about all these movies and they've seen everything and they want to see all the new things and they love Tarantino, and they were, one of them is in a place where it's not out yet, in that country, and this guy and the other guy is like, oh, it's gonna be here like a few days later than in America, and he was like just chomping at the bit to see it. So they were both very excited and very impressed after seeing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So I guess on their recommendation, you should see that. I don't know what Ready or Not is. That doesn't ring a bell. So I guess my recommendation is clear. I'm probably going to try to find a moment to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in theaters if I have time. A lot on my plate. Let's see. So yeah, remember, I'm kind of keeping an eye in case you're asking me something, you guys, in without the question thingy, but I'm just going for the question marks first. Trevor, another question from Trevor. Do you have more Apple products like iPhone since you have a Mac? Yeah, I don't know what came first, but I have an iPhone, and I got an iPad. I had an iPad like long ago that, like, there's a really old one that I had that I now use as with a teleprompter app, because I have this like prompter thing for a camera that is designed to hold the really old school sort of curvy iPad, and it's old and slow, and I don't really even connect it, like it's not like being updated or anything. I'm just using it for that app because it physically works with the prompter. And then I got an iPad Pro at one point. I sound like such a techie and stuff, but it just kind of happens gradually, and I'm mainly motivated to get like electronics and toys like that to do something. Like I wanted to use Procreate and some of these drawing programs and use the Apple Pencil with them. So I got an iPad Pro, the smaller one, and it works pretty good. I'm thinking about I'm thinking about getting the really big iPad Pro, so that way I can do animation stuff if I'm like traveling or, I don't know, sitting in a park or something. I just started using this illustration program called Clip Studio Paint. It used to be called Manga Studio, and it's kind of like a really extensively used software in comics and things like that, but it also has animation tools. So if you want to do traditional animation, there's like a whole setup for that there, and it's really, really good. It's a main competitor of Photoshop with drawing, just in the regular drawing stuff and painting. So, but they have a version of it. I think Photoshop is coming out with that, but already for Clip Studio Paint, there's a iPad version of it that is not like a watered down iPad thing. It's like the software you use on your desktop, but on the iPad. Every little thing, every little feature, all the menu items, it just looks like the screen capture of the desktop version, except there's a few cool features for touch response and all that. So it's amazing. Like if they do that with Photoshop, then I'm definitely getting an iPad, the big iPad Pro as well, just because like I'd rather be able to do stuff when I'm not sitting just in this office, and Seems pretty easy with the iPad. Vinesh asks, do you think Andrew Kramer will ever release Intercept? I know you might not have insider info, but would you care to speculate? I'm trying to remember, what is Intercept? Andrew Kramer makes awesome tutorials, and I kind of can say, like most people, I kind of learned 70% of what I know how to do in After Effects, what I do every day with my videos. I kind of learned the basics from Andrew Kramer and his tutorials, as he was ahead of all of us. And now they create all these amazing plugins and like design elements and stock footage and stuff. I'm thinking of what the heck is Intercept. It rings a bell, but I'm sorry I don't remember what that is. I guess, like me, he promised a thing, or he expected to create something and then it didn't pan out, or it's not done yet. I don't know. I'm gonna look into what Intercept is. Is it a project? Is it a film he was working on? Andrew Kramer just posted, like, he directed, and I guess his company produced the new THX, like the promotional animation of the THX logo, the THX sound thing you see in the movies. But it's like a new elaborate thing where it's just like flies through all these different beautiful 3D landscapes and dust. Andrew Kramer made that, so maybe he was busy doing that and he couldn't release whatever this Intercept thing is. All right, the tutorial. Sorry, Bill Goldberg. Just checking if some of these non-question marked things are questions, just so I get them out of the way. Oh, okay. So Bill clarified about what tutorial he was asking. In my original old, well, not old because it's on now, the Patreon announcement video, when I said that I'm going to do tutorials, I used a video, which was a 3-second clip of the wall flying in its layers. To be honest, that video was created before anything existed, before I actually made the Patreon page live and stuff. So I guess I just speculatively created a tutorial. So I must have just used elements I had to just make something look like a tutorial thing, but it wasn't a real tutorial. I'm sorry. But yeah, like I said earlier, if I'm gonna reboot that thing and just try to make a new version of it, probably I'll have to do that if I start to if I start to release my videos in 4K or something, which I don't know if I'll do it. But I'm probably gonna start filming them in 4K and just releasing them in HD still. But if I do it, that's when I would make that tutorial, and we'll see, another excuse to play with Blender, I guess. It'll be so. All right, looks like I covered the questions for the time being, and I probably need to get back to work. So let's continue, shall we? I'm gonna do another session of this, a little bit of working. If there's more questions, I feel like you guys are cool. You don't need me to explain things to you. You just enjoy my company as I enjoy yours. So I'll do another session of work. I'll check if there's any questions in the Q&A. We're gonna check in. I guess before we break in, let's make sure we check that the storm hasn't come and gone yet. So urgent check-in. Oh god. Check in on the hurricane. Still looks the same. The sky is actually clearer now. So let's pan around. Let's double check that things look peaceful. I'm really hoping that my next door neighbors do not get alarmed seeing a robotic camera pointed in their buildings, in their houses' general direction the whole day. Hopefully they're cool with it. But yeah, this is the look at the current skies. I am in the cone of probability of where the storm will hit, probably by tomorrow night. But right now it looks decent and safe and okay, so we should be safe and all right. So anyway, yes, where were we? I was getting back to work. Let's reset our little timer to put in another honest 20 minutes of productivity. You guys are helping me. You're helping me to be like on edge and productive and okay. I'm gonna reset the clock. I'm gonna start it again. And you better think of burning things you want to ask me. And once we do that, we're gonna call it a day. But I'd like to make this thing look like it's like it's something like what it's supposed to be. Right now it's just a bunch of garbage. What is this? This is useless. Alright. Looking at it with fresh eyes, I can see that this doesn't make any sense. How would a camera be mounted on this and still look through that hole? It can't. That's the problem. It's okay, this is easily remedied. Is that gonna work? Yeah. Okay. What's a film camera look like? I think in this case it's supposed to be a 65mm camera. But not an IMAX. They weren't that fancy. This studio. I'm just gonna completely freestyle a Hollywood looking 35mm camera. I mean, it's usually just a box, right? More or less. I'm too lazy to Google an additional reference. Oh, I didn't set my timer, so I won't remember when to stop working. That's very important. I'm not gonna work an extra minute. 16. Alright, whatever. What am I doing? What happened? Oh. Oh, this thing's being mirrored. Why is it being mirrored? I don't need no mirror modifier on this. Separate. Remove. That's better. Oops. What is this music? I'm not cool enough for this music. Let's change it. That looks weird, but all right. Oops. It's not you make a lens. What am I doing? Oh, maybe that'll work. Okay. Sure. Why not? There's no rules. Disillusion Industries brand. 65mm camera. a Flarex. Ariflex, but Mr. Flare, a Flare X. Never mind. I'm not a writer right now. I'm a 3D modeler. Everything has its time. What's a magazine, a film magazine look like? I guess I'll start with a circle. Ah, you know what? Need a bigger circle. I mean, a higher res circle than that. 64 segments. Oh, you know what? Okay. Ooh, the ticking of my timer is moving in time with the music. Perfect. For the recent CD slash videos, I built a cool like 35mm movie camera in as like a you know a flat graphic, but this is 3D, so I can't really use that thing. .65mm would probably be fat like this. Just barely thinner than the camera. Set origin to 3D cursor. Set its horizontal position. Does this have auto smooth? Okay. By the way, this whole thing is supposed to be, it's not supposed to be like a photorealistic thing, because it's just not called for in this case. So I'm kind of trying to keep things looking. They're not just simple because they're not done yet, but also it's never gonna get that realistic. It's just kind of gonna be like a half imagined thing. I wonder if, because again, I don't even know what this thing really looked like, this device. I'm just speculating. I feel like it would have to be like this. I mean, when I say device, I'm not talking about a camera. We all know what a camera looks like. I'm talking about the thing that the camera is on. I'll worry about how to connect that later, I guess. Or I'll worry about it now. No, no. Should I have simply invested in buying a model of a camera on Turbo Squid? It would have taken fewer minutes, but more of your dollars. Nondescript old 65mm camera. Did I destroy what I was making? No, there it is. Okay. Alright. Sure, why not? I read about this device, and on their particular system, this camera would... Usually it's just like it will move like this. Oops. You know, the panning, it's done like this or like that. But this one, panned... Sorry. Median point. What's happening? Origin to geometry. Yeah, so to pan, it would actually pan like that, and to tilt, it would move that way. I don't know. Just a random piece of trivia. So what else can I figure out with this? now? I guess these things. This thing's being mirrored as well. There we go. That makes more sense. Uh-oh. Well, I got somewhere. I built the camera platform, which can go left and right like this. And if I parent this to this, then this thing can go up and down and carry the camera up and down. And this can go pan around. Well, I just said it didn't go like that, but just in case I need to do that. And the camera can rotate. We achieved something. Now I just got to build the rest of the little details and things. This has to be connected to this. I got to build this into some kind of projector thing. And yeah, it'll be there in a couple more sessions. But now, let's get back to unofficial Q&A if there's anything to answer. Okay. Oh gosh, how do I remember where I was? What happened to the intro? Okay. Kramer. Someone did an exclamation point. Oh no. You should send an update to Patreon to let people know that the stream started. Well, yeah, I guess too late now. We're kind of like on the ending side of it. Yeah, I mean, I did that last time, didn't I? I think I did, but I don't want to send too many email notifications. I figured if you see the initial page, you can the initial post, like that's, I don't know what I guess I should just send a text update next time to tell people the stream is starting right now. Yeah, I did it on Twitter though to tell people to go join the Patreon in case they want to see the stream. All right, Hallie again asks, do you have any advice on where to begin learning how to compose and make digital music? You know, so out of the tapestry of things that I kind of pretend being able to do, I think music is like my most difficult one. Like I'm not like a guy that makes music all the time. Like I get inspired once in a while, or I see somebody be good at it and I like go, I want to be good at it too. I learn, I try to learn an instrument, or I go back into learning like courses of like music theory and trying to get inspired with ideas. So producing digital music, I mean, yeah, composing music is one thing, and how to make the music is like a separate thing. Like I often feel like I have kind of a grasp on composing in general, but like then arranging is like a real challenge for me. I'll sit there, like I could make something that's just a piano piece or whatever, maybe. But if I'm going to orchestrate it and turn it into like a song, it quickly turns into a mishmash. I'm not that good at putting sounds together and stuff, So I'm always like working on that. So I don't know. I guess get one of the standard software. Like I use Reason, and there's also I guess people make music in Pro Tools, but it's mostly like a mixing thing. It's not really for, I guess it's for producing music, but it's like a high-end thing. But Reason and what is that other one called? There's another standard one. I don't know, it escapes me. Oh, it was on the tip of my brain right now. Okay, I'm Googling things because I hate forgetting stuff just because I'm like on a stream and I can't think of it. Ableton Live, that's what it's called. Ableton Live Reason, or I guess even like GarageBand or something. I think that just comes with a Mac. If you can learn like just music theory and composing principles in online courses or go to a class or whatever, you know, doing it on your own is easy because you have the tools right in front of you. Like if you get a Mac, you can have GarageBand and you don't have to buy anything. You can get it, I think, if you have an iPad, I don't know if you pay for that or not when you buy GarageBand. Anyway, yeah, online courses or go to Juilliard or something. But the tools are the easy part. The tools are, you know, tutorials are out there, just like with graphics, compositing, and animation as well. So that's what I have to say about that. And that looks... Oh, okay. So there's some more questions. Okay. Oh, yeah. Kate says I could almost use the Captain D logo to block the camera. Yeah. Exactly. Never thought of that. The Captain Susan logo looks a little bit like a film magazine. Sinez asks, Sinez, did you know that the titles and descriptions of your videos were badly translated in other languages? It's frustrating because we can't disable them to see the originals, not like subtitles. Oh, I didn't know that. I don't really understand the community. Like, it's cool that there's a community subtitling translation system on YouTube. What happens is people can just... My videos are open to be translated by other people, so they can make subtitles. And I believe I have to... It's a system that's weird. I have to approve every new subtitle, and I haven't done it in a while, because honestly, if people are sending me dozens and dozens of subtitles in different languages I don't speak, and I don't have like the ability to designate someone to be on my account without just letting them log into my account. So I can't like hire people that speak other languages to go through those titles and subtitles and approve them. So I'm just left with like, do I just blindly click, oh, someone translated this in Arabic or in Cantonese? Like, I don't know. It's showing it to me, but I don't know if it's right or not. And the same goes for the description and the subtitles. I'm sorry, the description and the title and all the, you know, the metadata that you see on a video. I just have to either like disapprove it for no reason or approve it for no reason without knowing. So I'm just kind of tossing a coin and saying, okay, well, I don't have French translation of this. Somebody made it. I guess it's fine. What's even more frustrating on my end, actually, is that if someone made like a translation of a video to say Spanish, but then someone else could make a translation again in Spanish, but when I receive that, I have to say approve. Like if I approve it, it'll replace. It asks me if like it warns me that it's going to replace the translation, the official Spanish translation that was there before. So like I don't even know if I'm like destroying a perfectly brilliant translation and replacing it with someone's crappy translation. I have no way of knowing, you know. So it's a weird system. I wish that... I guess I don't have a suggestion for YouTube how to do it better. I mean, you don't want to take away the ability of the community to make the translations, but maybe there should be like a wiki system, you know. Other people should be able to take care of that without like having to like be part of my account or whatever. So I'm really sorry that happens. I'm not in charge of it. My only choice is to just have this weird situation where some translations are bad or not have translations at all. My hands are tied. But I hope it improves somehow. Oh, okay. I'm noticing a question. Okay, I see this person, Ronnie, try to make a question thing, but it didn't work, but that's okay. Do you worry much about avoiding n-gons, faces with more than 4 edges? Yes, that's in Blender and in 3D modeling, this is like a taboo, because good topology, like the let me just show you. If you know 3D, you know this is a basic thing. But If you, like, each of these things is a polygon, right? Everything is made of little, like, grids. And typically anything that defines a surface should have 4 sides, like this. Things should be made of rectangles. But sometimes, like this, oh, sorry, like this is not a quad polygon. It's like, they like to call it in the Blender community an n-gon. I mean, any polygon, I guess, is an n-gon, meaning the n is an unknown number of sides. So this one has like a ton of, I don't know where it's written in this new interface. It'll tell me how many edges there are. Where is it? I don't know. I don't know anymore. But yeah, well, here, okay, let's see, 66 verts, so that many edges, 66 edges. This thing is made out of 66 edges as opposed to something like this, which is 4 edges. So when you have more than 4 edges, the thing can distort the face. And, well, I guess it can distort with 4. Only 3 doesn't distort, but like for smooth surfaces and things should be made of 4-sided polygons. But if you know, like something like this, it's going to be flat, like the side of this magazine is always going to be flat no matter what. I'm not planning to make this into like a Pixar camera that talks and its magazine deforms. So I don't need this this part of this thing to ever be not flat. So as long as you know it's going to be perfectly flat, most people say it's fine to have an n-gon, so-called. If you're exporting something to another software, like I think certain formats and certain programs just need everything to be converted and broken down into triangles, and I think I can do that. Like you could do that on, oops, it's F3 now. Triangulate, is that a thing? Like if I just automatically turn this into triangles, it'll just break them up in a weird way to just make sure everything is triangles. But again, that's just for like certain situations where you're gonna send it to somebody to use in different software. Personally, I don't worry about n-gons when I know it's not gonna be, when I know how the model is gonna be used, and it's not gonna be a problem. So we ain't afraid of no n-gons. All right, what's next? Yeah, I did last time. Kate, yeah, I'm sorry. My life story is that I'm not that good at self-promotion. How many of you guys are watching? I feel like it's not a lot of you. I did probably do a bad job of promoting the thing. I'm a little worried about like annoying patrons. I'll promote the crap out of something on Twitter or whatever, but I don't want to bother you guys too much because I feel like too many email notifications like can get annoying. All right. What's next? Oh, Sammy knows something about the subtitles. Yeah, all right. John White asks, any clue about what you're doing for the next video? Not the secret one. Yeah, I guess I can say it. Well, yeah, the one I started doing things on, and I'm gonna do a sort of like a little cameo again. It'll have to be a quick D. I was really hoping to do like a traditional corner video because we haven't had that in a while, and I have a topic for that, but because I want to do things a little bit faster, I'm basically doing another quick D on the, what's it called, that amusement ride that made a little splash virally a while back from a amusement park, that the sort of tower dropping ride that was really bizarre, and as the gyro drop. Yeah, so I haven't shot the main hosting thing, but I prepared a bunch of things, and there's a sort of a micro collab that's happening. And so some of the material has been shot, so it's in this very early stage, and I'm rushing right now. I want to get this out of the way while I at the same time make this next video. So it's going to be about the gyro drop. It's just a bit of fun, and it's not like, it's not like people haven't explained that was fake, but quick Ds are not about breaking the news that something is not real. It's about like, hey, this thing you've seen, let me give you my take on how that was done. So I'm just gonna try to be more funny with it, and yeah. So sorry, spoiler alert. Maybe I should have asked you guys in the chat in case some of you don't want to know what the next video is going to be about, but that's what it's about. Ooh, what's next? I guess that's all our questions. Oh, somebody asked right now as I was looking at it. Are you planned? Do you plan? I guess they mean to incorporate Eevee in your workflow / pipeline. Rob asks. Yeah, I do incorporate it. Like actually most of the time, because unless it's like effects that are happening in the room with me and it's like something realistic looking, I use the cycles renderer in Blender for that, but I use the new Eevee renderer, which is like a real-time rendering engine for most of these flat-looking graphics. Like in the last video about what was our last video about? The fan, which is still in this room. I still have the tape on the ceiling. A lot of that was rendered in Eevee actually, because again, I don't think it has to be, because when I'm like doing just symbolic representative graphics, I don't need them to be super realistic looking, and most of the time they're kind of flat shaded. So Eevee is perfect for that. And now I don't have to send away to render the shots, because I used to have to, like, just to get everything done, even simple shots, my computer's not that fast, and especially if I'm trying to work on other stuff. So I had to use like pay for a rendering service. You send the stuff to a website and they render it on a big render farm and they send it to you really fast, in a day instead of like waiting a week for it or something. So Eevee is great because now I press a button and it renders out the shot in about 20 seconds maybe, whereas it might have taken like an hour before. So yeah, I do use it, and I hope I haven't learned all the ins and outs, because it's one of those, you don't get something for nothing. If you want your stuff to render quickly, you got to learn how to like please that render engine and how to light things to make them look the same as in cycles. So whatever. But this is Blender shop talk. I should do like some kind of stream that's just for Blender users or something. All right. A quick shout out to your parodying subtitles, your Big D video, to your parodying abilities. Your Big D video was so cool to watch. I hope you will have an occasion to bring back this kind of referencey format in the future. Thanks, Inez. I enjoy doing that, but when I look back at it, I'm like, why did I think I'm like an impressionist? I just wanted to, I don't know. I thought it was fun. My one big regret is how I mean, my impressions are not great, but they're like funny, but my Tom Scott impression is just so bad that I don't know what I was thinking, because I was like, I didn't know Tom that well, and like as I made that video, I actually met Tom. Bizarrely, I filmed the video, all these impressions, and I was like, it was edited basically, and at that moment, Tom was in town here, and he just like messaged me and said, let's hang out, let's meet, because he's here. So I met this man, and I was like, oh, I was, sometimes you think you kind of get how somebody is, and then you don't really. So I did this really bad impression, and then but I was like, I'll show him it, because this is great. I want to make sure he's cool with this weird thing I did. So I showed him the impression. He was like, yeah, okay, that's I see it, but I think he was just being polite. If I do a thing like that again, I think I will attempt to impersonate, to do an impression of Tom Scott again, to redeem myself, to do a better job, because it's not like he's not like, I think he's parodyable. It's just I didn't have the skills and I didn't have him figured out, but I can do a better job with this. I will try, and thank you. I'm glad you liked that. That was a really fun. That video was maybe the last time I felt like artistically like, yeah, I did something splashy. I'm glad I did that. I'll feel alive with creativity. I got to do something like that again soon. All right, I'm gonna scroll through, because in case somebody didn't put any signs. Otherwise, guys, I don't want to suck you into the vortex of the mundane process of my work life, and also I want to be more productive for you. I'm just gonna check real quick. Oh gosh, all 20 of you guys, all 19 of you, are precious to me. I'm glad you are taking the time out of your day, out of your afternoon, or wherever you are, to sit with me today and to let me share some inside stuff with you. Like, I don't know. Have I given you enough of like an inside look? Tell me. We're not in Q&A mode even. All the rules have been broken. All right, last call for any kind of thing you want to know. And again, yeah, I mean, I'm not keeping an eye on what Samantha's doing. I'm sure she's like, she's quickly swooping in and letting you know if there's anything she knows about that I'm not remembering in answering your questions. Hi, Fer Contreras. You're a huge fan from Chile. Great, thank you so much. It's always very impressive to just hear that people watch me around the world. It's like I guess I'm an old school person. I just imagine like that I have a local. I like to pretend somewhere in the back of my head. I know I'm on the internet, but I feel like I'm on a local cable channel, and that it shouldn't be normal that someone in another part of the world is seeing me in another country. So it's really cool to see that and to hear that, and I want to try to. I should do more things to like. I don't want to say cater to international fans, but maybe just be more cognizant and more aware of what's going around the world and what people's concerns are, and maybe like gear some of my videos toward those things. Like, for example, just do a video that's trending in China or something, you know, like do things like that maybe people in America haven't even heard of. You know, not everything revolves around the United States. So, okay. Okay. Kate asks, Captain, any idea when you are doing your next agent commission mail out? Oh, well, I'm glad you asked that, because it's like the elephant floating in the hangar of of my whole Patreon thing. Look, I am couple of times what happened is like I prepared all the material, or like I got the material prepared to a certain degree, and then I had to like leave town, and so I apologize so deeply to the top tier patrons. It's like I feel like I'm just being another Patreon guy that's like, oh, they did not, we're waiting for them to deliver on their tier. That's my biggest ball dropped. Like, that's coming. What I'm gonna do is just basically like a big make good of like some extras that are not listed in the thing is going to be part of the packages, but I'm going to give you an ETA on that soon. I will not flake out. I mean, obviously you've all paid money. It's definitely coming to you, but just give me a moment to like figure out the best way to do that so you get the best bang for your buck. But I'll get back to you. I will like, I can basically message just the tier that I want to address. So I'll talk to you guys about that. But I have things, they're laying around, they're here in my hands that I can send them to you. So it's coming. But yes, thank you for your kind words. I'm glad to have supporters like you. What else? Final thoughts. Yeah. So you see where I'm at, right? I'm working on a thing. I'm finishing a sort of obligation, which will also end up being content for you guys. And I'm jumping right into this next thing. I am going to go in 2 months from now to a conference that I will be speaking at. But I also, just like the beginning of this whole stream, that is something I cannot say what it is yet, but it's kind of exciting. And that's pretty much everything on the agenda. Have I forgotten anything? I don't think so. I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys. Oh, how does this work again? I don't remember my own setup here. Yes. I want to say thank you again to everybody for hanging out with me. Thank you, Samantha, for like steering the ship. And you know, this wasn't the most exciting stream because like you're just here to watch me work, but I I kind of feel good, like working a little bit with a little bit of company. So I don't know, I'll try to think about how to make these a little bit more exciting with a little bit of something for everybody. Maybe I should have guests. Maybe I should have someone else on, as someone suggested on Patreon. Maybe like I do better if there's like a co-host or something. Maybe Samantha should be a sidekick and sign on in some way or something. Or maybe I'll bring another guest character. We'll see what we can come up with, but I kind of enjoy these things. And I'd like to do these streams not just as a sort of like, sorry my video is late, but as its own thing. You know, I'm learning. This is a testing ground. You guys are witnessing me like figuring out how to do something from scratch. And if I get good enough, maybe we can put this out there and make this not only a Patreon exclusive thing. So again, thanks for hanging out. I'm gonna go ahead and sign off, and I'll talk to you guys real soon, and I'll release that video ASAP. Thanks again. Bye.